Luso Italiano, Luxury Imports sponsors Boxing Bros UK.
Hello, this is Boxing Bros UK. I am a Hiss Chris. This is my co-host, Andrew, the Boxing Brain.
Howdy.
And today, we're doing a post-fight review of Usyk versus Tyson Fury. The
big one.
Fucking hell. Wow. Oh, let me get my scorecard up, actually, just to help jog my memory.
Chris, the fourth judge.
Yeah. That's better than that fucking AI judge. How the fuck did it get 18-12? How?
6 rounds. Yeah. Well, first, we'll just, while you're getting your scorecard up, I think, look, Frotch, I think, didn't have a problem with the 116, 112. There seems to have been a bit of a split. Some people are saying it was a bit wide. I had it 115, 113. Although when I watched it back at the gym today, while I was on the treadmill, I was like, oh, actually, I can see a case for a 4-round swing now. So I initially was like, oh, that's too wide. I've not really got a problem with the 116, 112 now, because the back end of the fight, Fury stopped planting his feet, stopped coming forward, started going backwards, and we'll get into it. So, yeah, I'm all right with the scores, based on what I'm saying. I've changed my mind.
How did that AI get 18? How? And still give Fury 4 rounds? I don't get it.
Meant to be the future.
Fucking future, my ass.
AI the future.
It must have give like Usyk 4 rounds and then what? Give Fury 4 rounds and then give Usyk like 11 points on 2 rounds or something. Because how can you get 18-12? How can you can't get 18-12? It's impossible.
I don't know what I mean. I don't know. 118, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But
that was a
anyway,
trial with AI and your shit, whatever that AI judge was called. I can't remember what he said his name was.
Where do we start though? Because I know kind of how I feel about what I personally would like both fighters to do, and I'll say this now. I'd like them both to retire, but for different reasons. But we'll get into that at the end of the video. Where do we start with this, Chris? Because we can start anywhere, and all the YouTubers out are going to be doing their own takes.
Wow.
Where do we start? I'll start with this, and then maybe you riff back off me. I did think Fury looked laser for you. Called it. He said, I think he's got the bit between his teeth. He looked really razor sharp, particularly those first few rounds. I think he looked really on it. Double jabs, triple jabs. You know, he was kind of taking the centre of the ring, Chris, a little bit. And I thought it was a good start from Fury, and I liked what I saw. Then Usyk did what he did and came back into it, and Fury stamina seemed to go. But anyway, what did you think of what you initially saw from Fury?
So the thing is, he did the same thing that he did last time, yeah, but in different rounds. He won the first 3 rounds convincingly, controlling the ring, good fast hands, accurate. Then Usyk came back into it in round 4. Then Fury came back, and then that was it. Then it was all Usyk for the rest of the fight.
Pretty much.
All Usyk.
Pretty much.
Every time, so in the first fight, Fury won 3 rounds in a row. Really, really good. And then that was it. And he did that this time. He won the first 3 rounds. And I think Fury Fury kept backing up. And do you know why he kept backing up? Because his arms was tired. There's only so long, and again, it's illegal, but there's only so long you can hold your arm out like this before it gets tired. He had the guard high. And what was Usyk doing? Poking at the body. And the hands gradually going lower, lower, lower. And if Fury is too tired to keep his arms up, that's why for me, Fury was backing off because he was too tired to keep up the high guard. So he was like, right, let me take a step back so I can have a breather. then I'll step back in with the high guard because it's just because I know I'm gonna let Usyk throw and then I'm gonna counter him or whatever. But when he was stepping back, Usyk was stepping to him. So when you're getting tired and you need a breather, you can't take a breather against Usyk because that guy has got a phenomenal engine. He might not hit hard, and then he started landing them overhand lefts, and when Fury was stepping back, because his arms was tired, kept getting caught, ping, like through the guard with a jab.
We said, Chris, didn't we, in our prediction the other day? We said Fury's got to, and I'm surprised he didn't do more of the dark arts. The only little bit of he was doing towards the back end of the fight, he was trying to follow in after his shots and lean on Usyk and get hold of him. And Usyk obviously his strength and conditioning was great. And every time Fury leaned on him, he just almost MMA'd him back. Managed to pivot out of it. His legs were really strong. He's very fit. But we said, didn't we? Fury's got to do everything right for 12 rounds, and we're not sure whether his legs are still there. The stamina's clearly not there anymore to be able to go 12 rounds. He's obviously a bit heavier. I also thought he wasn't proactive enough for me, Chris. He was reacting a lot to what Usyk was doing towards the back end of the fight, and he wasn't being proactive. The bigger man, the heavier man, the taller man. And look, everyone's going to analyse this, and we will, as we are now. Ultimately, Fury just didn't do enough. I think it's as simple as that, Chris. He didn't do enough, did he?
He didn't. But the thing is, as well, like with the clinching, like you say, I've done a bit of MMA, not much, but there's a thing that they do. It's called swimming. So Fury's locked his arm around Usyk, then Usyk comes out and tries to lock his arm. So while you're doing this fucking swimming shit, trying to lock someone up, and they're trying to lock you up, you're wasting energy doing that instead of punching. So I just think that he tried to do that, but Usyk negated it. So Usyk was too clever, too strong, and he was slippery. He couldn't manhandle him. He was better off just fucking bear hugging him and walking him to the ropes.
I just don't know why. Why did it? And look, again, it's always easy for us to say on this side of the boxing world.
Yeah.
Why didn't Fury? And he's obviously, he looked a bit concerned, obviously. He knew Usyk had hurt. He looked to me like he was a bit concerned. Even Sugar Hill was telling him to come forward and plant his feet. Why aren't you doing it? Why are you going backwards? Why are you backing up? I just wonder, why do you think Fury didn't go out on his shield? I mean, look, we can all slag off Wilder, but in those two fights, he did go out on his shield and he tried, and he was willing to take punishment. Why didn't Fury just go, do you know what? I can't put a dent on this round, because I think mentally, right, after the first 4 or 5 rounds, and he was catching him with some good jabs and shots, couldn't really put a dent in Usyk, and I think he thought, I ain't going to be able to get this guy out of there. And I wonder whether he just then went back to type and started backing up. But why didn't he just go, fuck it? If I end up getting knocked out in the process, I don't want to leave my legacy like that. Now, I don't understand why he didn't do that, but perhaps you can help me out here, Chris, and help me understand a bit.
I think in the fight, in the moment, I just think that he thought that he might catch Usyk. So, he didn't want to get caught himself. So, because every time he was stepping in, Usyk was having his way. Usyk had the faster hands, and he kept catching him. And Fury was, say Fury landed a good body shot, bang, 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 Usyk would land 10 straight punches to the body. Well, not 10, I'm exaggerating. But Fury would land one good body shot, then Usyk would go bang, 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 land a few. Or landing not every time Fury had a bit of success in the later rounds, Usyk answered back straight away. Anytime he had some success. So he never really got a good rhythm going. So then he started backing off because he didn't want to get hit because his hands were too slow. And then I just think that maybe he was mesmerized and thought, do you know what? I just have to coast. I just have to coast, and I've done enough in the early rounds to win the fight. Maybe that.
I was just thinking, as you were saying, I wonder whether he thought you've maybe confirmed it for me personally. Here. I wonder, and I saw a bit of a reaction to he met Ben Davidson
Ben Davidson,
walking out, and he said,
I won it by 3 rounds.
So if anyone didn't see it, he says to Ben Davidson, "Would it be honest?" Something like this, not verbatim. Be honest. How did you see him? Ben Davidson, I don't know, because he's his mate. He said, "To be honest, I had you winning it, but." I don't know. Too many yes men around him, perhaps, is half the problem. I wonder whether he thought. Maybe he thought. You're right. Maybe he thought I've done enough to nick it here. But I think in time he's going to look back to this fight and go, "Oh, why didn't I stick it on him a bit more and just go for broke?" I think so.
Yeah, definitely. And Sugar Hill said to him, Sugar Hill said, "Listen to me." He said, "There is no tomorrow. The time is now. You need to win this round." That's what Sugar Hill said to him in the 12th round. He said, "There's no tomorrow. It's now. You have to win this round." And he didn't win. And he didn't win that round for you. He didn't win it. He tried to, but he didn't try enough. He didn't try enough. He didn't go out on his shield. He didn't let his hands go.
Do you know what? Do you know what else, Chris? And I'm sure you picked up on this. And funny enough, I said it before Shane McGuigan said it. But to be fair, the commentators have to wait for their turn. So I'm sure Shane McGuigan would have worked this out quicker than mere mortal that I am. What Usyk's he's such a master. He's such a psychological master in there. The last 20, 30 seconds of a lot of rounds, he would just ramp it up a bit. And I know full well, this is just how the human brain works. It's recency. We call it recency bias. The most recent thing you hear is what you kind of go off. So the judges are going, if it's a swing round or a close round, that last 30 seconds, what they see, 10 that's a 10 round for Usyk. He's so smart at doing things like that. And I noticed it, and Shane McGuigan said it as well. So that's how Usyk wins these close fights. He's such a cunning little fucker. He really is.
Yeah. He just everything he does, he's one of the most intelligent fighters ever. I don't care what anyone says. He's like you say, so cunning, all the little tricks, and and Fury, and he took Fury's soul, he took his energy away, because Fury had a great start, and then Usyk just kept on working that body, all the way through, even the rounds that he was losing, and then Fury's hands started to get down, and then he was open, and Fury got tired, and he didn't even dance around as much. But I think it was the body work, and Usyk was a bit more active in this fight because Fury was a bit more aggressive. And then when he was backing up, you don't want to back up. Again, when you're tired, you don't want to back up at the back end of a fight when you're tired against a man who never gets tired.
Cardio is on point, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Yeah. And the thing is with Usyk, and I think this needs doubling down more because I don't hear it enough. We can talk about eras and all the rest of it. For me, Usyk goes right in up there, top 5, top 3 of all time now for me. But he's giving up 4 stone of weight against arguably the second best heavyweight of his generation. He's given up 4 stone, 4 or 5 inches in height. The amount of work you have to get through to do that, and I didn't like the Dubois thing after, perhaps we'll get to that. The guy was fucking knackered. Like, the work ethic Usyk goes through, but I'm sure you appreciate this as a hard working. I know how much you put into your body, Chris, and how hard you work. Right? There's no shortcuts with him, is there? At all.
No.
He just absolutely he absolutely amazes me, to be honest. Like, if that's not a pound for pound legendary fighter, we have weight divisions for a reason, right? Tyson Fury almost needs his own weight division, and Usyk is a is a big cruiserweight, but by no means a big heavyweight, right?
No.
I mean, that I don't think that gets spoken about enough in these two fights. Like, he's having to negate everything. He's having to negate size, reach, weight. You know, all on his skills and his technical ability. Like, I just wanted to emphasise that, Chris, because I don't think it gets appreciated enough.
And it's like I said before, the reason why is because he doesn't get the knockouts. That's the only reason why he's not as. Because if you think about it, a fighter,
I hear.
in his era, exactly the same as Usyk, giving away height and reach and weight to everyone he fought. Mike Tyson, yeah, he did. Everyone he fought was always taller than him, always had, but everyone loved Tyson. Why? Because he was devastating knockout artist.
I see what you're saying.
He had the exact same issues as Usyk. Everyone's always taller than him. Everyone's always heavier than him. They're always bigger than him. But because he knocked them out, that's what they love. So,
do you know what? You could be right. Because if he'd have knocked AJ out, right, and knocked Fury out, one out of the two fights, we might very well get more of a common consensus that he's right. More people would say he's right up there, because there's people we know, Chris, that won't even put him in the top 15 of all time. I don't get it. But now you've said that, you know, Lennox Lewis, he knocked a fair amount of his opponent.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're right. We do love at heavyweight. We base a lot on the knockouts because of the size of the men. And I think his skills don't get appreciated perhaps as much as they should.
Yeah. And even if you even want to go further into it, let's not forget, Tyson Fury only became popular when he knocked out Deontay Wilder. Let's have it right, yeah? Like, when
Quite
he beat
possibly,
When he beat Vladimir Klitschko, he beat Vladimir Klitschko with movement and skills, yeah? And everyone said he was shit. And nobody appreciated him for it. That's why he went depressed, because he's like, I fucking won the title and everyone hates me and says I'm shit. Like, people love knockouts.
Yeah, do you know, like, when on the back of what you're saying, because you've brought up this is actually quite an interesting take on this. I hope people appreciate this, because I think this is an interesting take you've brought up. When AJ went a bit more, I don't want to be in these wars, and he was with Derek James and Garcia, and he started, bringing back up that high guard and winning on points, the Ruiz win. Nobody liked it. Everybody slagged it off. It's boring. What's up? He needs to go. You can't really win.
AJ, that's what we kept hearing.
But then he went back to, I don't know, he got smashed up by Dubois, and he was no good anyway. You know, I don't know. It's like you can't really win, can you? So,
like, I think Usyk will be appreciated when he's retired in about 10 years, because like people look back at Mayweather now and say he's the greatest boxer of all time. When he was fighting, everyone said, I hate Mayweather. I want him to lose. He's boring. He's shit. I don't like watching his fights. And obviously, Mayweather played on it like a big heel, like winding people up. And he got people wanting to watch him fight to lose. But Usyk is a gentleman. He's a nice man. And he doesn't want to play them theatric games. He don't want people to hate him. He just bees himself. So because he's not playing them games and being audacious and braggadocious, he's just being himself and winning the way that he knows how to win. So
I love it.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's a great fighter, and you have to put him in the top 5 of all time. You have to.
You've just beat me to it, Chris. I was going to ask for where you place him, but you've just answered it for me. Top 5.
Say, for me, Muhammad Ali is the greatest at heavyweight. Just because of his resume, his fights, and in his prime, even the speed, the power, Muhammad Ali is the one. Then Lennox Lewis, because of the adjustments that he can make, and the knockouts, and his boxing brain. Then obviously you got Mike Tyson, and then you got Usyk. For me, there, like the two, you got the two big ones.
I'm trying to think.
Two big ones, 1 and 2.
I know that you got your Joe Lewis's. We have to go right, and again, it's hard when you go right back, and your Marcianos and Larry Holmes, George Foreman. Yeah, I'm trying to I tell you what, I agree. He's in third or fourth in that top 5 for me, somewhere around where you said. There ain't too many in there. I'm just trying to think of any. I'm trying to think. There's not too many there for me because what I'd say about this, and people go, oh, well, in that era, what Usyk's really good at, and it might always be the most entertaining, is he's very good at nullifying and negating what your opponent does. Now, Holyfield, I think he'd have been too cute for. I think he'd have given Lewis problems, but I think Lewis's size, jab, and his good kind of Olympic pedigree and all. I think Lewis was a very good boxer as well, and his speed, power. I think Lewis might have just had the edge in those fights, maybe on point, something like that. But Usyk would have negated a lot of what those fighters would have had because he'd have worked them out and he'd have adapted his style ever so slightly to the fighter he was facing. That's one of Usyk's biggest strengths. He's like a chameleon. Like a chameleon changes colour depending on the environment. I don't know where I'm going with this because when it's cold or when it's the chameleon blends into its environment based on what's going on. Usyk's a bit like that. Depending on who he's fighting, he's able to adapt very, very quickly.
And do you know what? It's funny, something just popped into my head. Did you notice Fury didn't land them uppercuts this time? Because Usyk made the adjustments. He kept missing. them.
Brilliant point, Chris. Where were the uppercut? Couldn't get them.
He was throwing them, but he was missing. And he was doing the same thing. He was doing the feint. He was doing the feint, jab feint. And Usyk wasn't falling for the feint. And he was taking a step back. And Fury kept missing him. And then he was throwing them out of desperation later on. And just not landing them at all. But he made the adjustment from the first fight. He thought, you ain't getting me with them uppercuts again. Forget it. And poor Dylan White, he can't avoid an uppercut for his life.
That's a cracking point because thinking back, he did try and throw the uppercut a fair bit. But Usyk was then stepping on the outside of Fury's lead foot. He was in and out of range. He wasn't there to be tagged with it. I think he caught him. There was one time I think he caught him. I don't know if it was an uppercut or a right hand. I'm not sure what it was. And Usyk just smiled and went, nah. I'm good. I think that was it. That was the only time. Yeah.
The other thing that Usyk, before we move on to what's next, what he doesn't get credit for. What a fucking chin. What a chin he's got.
Oh, God. Oh.
What a chin.
Brilliant.
Chin. Never been down in a professional fight. No, he's never touched the canvas ever. Not once.
I don't know what these Eastern Europeans, Chris, right? I swear they've got adamantium. You know Wolverine has got that adamantium skeleton. I swear to God they've got like titanium skeletons going on because don't seem to be able to put a dent in these Ukrainians and Russians. They are like, I don't know if it's the cold. It's probably he's probably doing press ups in -10 in the mountains and his skeleton's just like solid. But because like definitely Fury was like tagging him and just was like, this guy's just, what do I do with this guy? Like I can't put a dent in him. So you're right to bring up the fact that people are going to go on about his skills and what he does negates his opponents, but his punch resistance is absolutely superb.
Yeah, because he has been caught. He's been caught. Dubois caught him. Fury's caught him a few times. Chisora caught him
AJ
quite a bit. Yeah, AJ. Like he's he's got a good set of whiskers on him. So next, what's for you? What's next for Fury, and then what's next for Usyk?
Yeah, slightly controversially, but for different reasons. Fury, look, what they do is entirely up to them, obviously. I mean, there's obviously big money, if I'll start with Fury, there's obviously big money fights out there, but I don't want to see the Battle of the British Bums, Anthony Josh. I'm being a bit harsh there, but I don't want to see two losers face off. As big as that fight is, and I know a lot of people still want to see it, I don't particularly have much enthusiasm for that at this point. There are some big fights out there for Fury, as I say. I just don't really know where he goes. Is he going to want to retire like that? Probably not. I think he probably should. Usyk, look, the rematch for Dubois. Dubois stepped in the ring. I know he spoke about going back down to cruiserweight. You know, Krasuk talks about him as being someone that's just a fighting man and wants to continue. But for me personally, I think he should retire, give the belts back out into the division, allow the Moseses and the Dubois to sling it out for him, and bring in a new generation of heavyweight. I think you feel slightly differently. I'd both like them both to retire for different reasons. That's just my personal opinion. But what do you think, Chris?
Well, let's say Usyk doesn't retire. What fight would you, if he says I'm not retiring, what fights would you like to see him in next?
Good question. I see what you did there. If he has two more fights, say he has two more fights, I would like to see the Dubois rematch because I think Dubois has got momentum. I think the ferocity's back there. I think the Don Charles. I know he was with Don Charles Usyk fight, but it was early days with Don Charles, Chris, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and they've done a lot of work since. So I think that would be interesting. I still think Usyk just is able to get through that, I think, on points. And then I'll tell you what would be quite a magic fight, because I know they had a bit in the amateurs. What about Beterbiev moving up to cruiser? Usyk down to the cruiserweight. If he can do it at his age, he's a fit guy. If he can get down to 15 stone-ish again, 15.5 stone, and have a bit of a kind of Beterbiev Usyk cruiserweight fight. I know, something like that. Yeah, what do you think?
I'd love to see that fight, to be fair. I think Usyk would win, though, because Beterbiev is just so much of a... Yeah. But I don't know, actually, because I think Beterbiev, I don't know, at cruiserweight, imagine if he hits harder at cruiserweight.
Because he's lean, Beterbiev. He's got plenty of... But he could probably move up to heavyweight. I think he has... Didn't he fight a heavyweight in the amateurs?
I think so. Either like normal heavyweight. So I think he fought a cruiser, because you got heavyweight and you got super heavyweight, haven't you? Which is you got cruiser. Yeah. But I don't know.
I'm just chucking some, just because they're two high-profile fights. But other than that, Chris, other than those two, or another kind of, I don't know, where else would Usyk go other than those two? Because there's not really much for him more to do, is there, to prove? So
I think, for me, I'm with you. I think Fury. I mean, I'm not Fury. I think Usyk should definitely rematch Daniel Dubois and retire. He should have a nice rest and fight Dubois, or in August, September, maybe. Like have a good rest. Fight Dubois in the summer. Dubois, like you say, got good momentum. If he beats Parker, that's a brilliant thingy. If Dubois loses to Parker, though, retire. Because he ain't got nothing to prove. You can't beat Parker. Forget it. You ain't even got a chance against me. I'm retiring. He's got no business.
And let's be honest, Chris. Who wants to see Usyk Parker? No disrespect to Parker, but Usyk are outboxing. Parker won't be able to hurt him. Waste of time.
Fight. At least we know with Dubois, it's going to be an exciting fight, because Dubois brings the heat. He lets his hands go. Yeah. He's young and fearless. So, I want to see him rematch Dubois and retire. I want Dubois to beat Parker now, and I wanted Parker to win, but I just want Usyk to retire, saying that I beat Dubois twice, I beat Fury twice, I beat AJ twice, a 2-time undisputed champion, undisputed cruiserweight champion.
Yes, everything.
cement the legacy, and then no one can say anything that he's not in one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. No one can say that. For Fury, if I was Fury, do you know what I'd do?
Yeah.
I'd rematch in Ngannou. Yeah. Then see what the landscape's like. And if there's one more good fight out there, I don't know, like maybe fighting, see if AJ can bring himself back, or fight Dubois and become a 3-time world weight champion or something like that. Do you know? Let's say
I didn't. Yeah.
You know, if he fights Ngannou in the summer, and let's say Usyk beats Dubois, and then he relinquishes all the belts, fight for Usyk's retired, win a title again, and then retire. You know? Well, that's what I'd do if I was Fury.
I could see something like that happening. Do you know what? It's a good shout. I could see something like that happening now. Like, I didn't think of the Ngannou one. Like, right the wrong of the Ngannou fight, especially after what AJ done to him. Then maybe see the landscape, as you say, and then if he does manage to pick up a belt, which he's capable of doing, a 3-time heavyweight world champion, he goes down in a small pool of heavyweights that have done that. So that wouldn't be a bad way to end his career. My question would be, Chris, quickly though, is how much has he got left, Fury, do you think?
No, I think he's got quite a lot left. It's just... Usyk's just too good. If you think about it, like... Fury gave a good account of himself. He had fast hands. He was doing really well. It's just the later rounds, he was losing. But against other fighters, he could get away with that. But Usyk is just too good. If you think everything that Usyk was better than Fury at everything. He had the faster hands. He had the faster feet. And the only thing, maybe Fury had the power edge on him. Like when Fury was landing power shots, Usyk was like, whoa, I had to reset. And then that's the only edge that Fury had. Everything else, footwork, speed, movement, feint, everything. Usyk was outworking him and beating him and better than him on everything. So if someone's better than you at everything, you can't beat them. It doesn't mean that Fury... I don't think Fury's finished. Usyk's just too good.
Yeah. You could be right. You could be right. Physically, there's still plenty there. I worry a little bit about the legs, but no, there probably could be. I think probably the biggest question mark would be just mentally where he's going to be at now. I'm interested to see after some downtime, Christmas out of the way, because we know what Tyson can be like. You know, his mental health, his bipolar. I think it might more be an interesting case of just where he's going to be at mentally, because you know, and I know, it's if we want what you said there about, you know, becoming a freeweight world champion, if the belts get, you know, vacated and Usyk retires and whatever, is he going to be motivated to want that? And only he knows that, and I don't know if he will or not. I'm not sure. So I guess we'll see.
That's it. So I think that's it from us. We're getting on a bit. Boxing Bros UK.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, comments.
What a fight.